What if you could make a ship disappear and reappear somewhere else? Sounds like a sci-fi movie plot, right? But what if I told you it might have happened in reality? Welcome to the story of the Philadelphia experiment, a tale that's been fascinating conspiracy theorists for decades. Picture this. The year is 1943, in the throes of World War II. The United States Navy, it is said, conducted a secret experiment on the USS Eldridge, a naval destroyer escort. The goal? To make the ship invisible and teleport it from Philadelphia to Norfolk, Virginia. Imagine the scene. One moment, the Eldridge is docked in the bustling Philadelphia naval shipyard, surrounded by the sounds of clanging metal and churning water. Then, in an instant, it vanishes, only to reappear hundreds of miles away in Norfolk. It's as if the ship was plucked from one location and dropped into another, like a piece on a chessboard. But how could such a thing be possible? The theory alleges the use of advanced technology, electromagnetic fields and cloaking devices. It's as if the Navy had stumbled upon a secret recipe for invisibility or a shortcut through space itself. It's a story that sounds more at home in the pages of a science fiction novel than in the annals of military history. Yet the proponents of this theory are adamant. They suggest that the experiment was part of a broader exploration of invisibility and teleportation technologies. The names of Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla, two of the most brilliant minds of the 20th century, are often whispered in connection with this enigmatic event. So, a ship vanishes and then pops up hundreds of miles away. Sounds unbelievable, but it's just the beginning of this enthralling tale. We're about to delve deeper into the mystery of the Philadelphia experiment, where the lines between science and fiction blur. Fasten your seatbelts, because this journey is about to take some unexpected turns. Now, teleportation is one thing, but what if this experiment had some unintended and terrifying consequences? Imagine this. You're a sailor aboard the USS Eldridge, and suddenly you're not just on a ship, you're a part of the ship. The lines between metal and man blur, and you're not sure where one ends and the other begins. This is the chilling scenario reported by some proponents of the Philadelphia experiment theory. They allege that the crew members experienced severe physiological effects as a result of the experiment. These weren't your run-of-the-mill seasickness symptoms. We're talking intense nausea, disorientation, and a sense of not being quite right. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The most horrifying of the claims is that some crew members became fused with the ship's structure. Imagine a hand merging into a wall, a leg absorbed by a deck. The very thought is enough to send shivers down your spine. This is the stuff of nightmares, of horror movies. But was it a reality for the crew of the Eldridge? It's important to note that these aren't just physical effects we're discussing. The mental and psychological trauma of such an experience would be immeasurable. The human mind is not equipped to handle such a drastic shift in reality. And let's not forget the ethical implications. If indeed this experiment was conducted, what does it say about the regard for human life? Were these men merely pawns in a grander scheme, sacrificed in the name of scientific advancement? The cost of this experiment was not just the ship, but the lives of the men aboard. Was it worth it? And more importantly, did it really happen? As we delve deeper into the Philadelphia experiment, we find ourselves at the crossroads of fact and fiction, science and speculation. But one thing's for certain, this is a tale that continues to capture our imagination, a story that forces us to question the limits of our knowledge and the lengths we'd go to push those boundaries. The cost of this experiment was not just the ship, but the lives of the men aboard. The question is, was it worth it? And more importantly, did it really happen? Every tale has its tellers, so who were the men behind the myth of the Philadelphia experiment? Well, let's start with Charles Berlitz and William Moore, the authors of the Philadelphia Experiment Project Invisibility. Berlitz, a linguist and a writer, was no stranger to the world of the unexplained, having penned books about the Bermuda Triangle and the lost city of Atlantis. Moore, on the other hand, was an established UFO researcher. Together, they brought the Philadelphia experiment into the public eye, spinning a tale that was as captivating as it was controversial. But the story doesn't stop there. Proponents of the theory suggest that the minds of Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla were behind the science of the experiment. Einstein, known for his theory of relativity, and Tesla, a pioneer in electrical engineering, were two of the brightest minds of their time. Despite no solid evidence linking them to the experiment, some believe that their research laid the groundwork for the supposed advanced technologies used in the Philadelphia experiment. These men, a linguist, a UFO researcher, a physicist, and an electrical engineer, are said to be the architects of a tale that has puzzled, intrigued, and even frightened people for decades. The theory had its share of proponents, but what does the other side of the coin look like? While the Philadelphia experiment has its believers, it also has its skeptics. And the biggest skeptic of all, the US Navy itself. The Navy has been steadfast, maintaining a consistent denial of any experiment involving the invisibility or teleportation of the USS Eldridge, or any other ship for that matter. They've repeatedly stated that no such technology existed during World War II, and that the alleged experiment defies the laws of physics as we know them. But it's not just the Navy that's skeptical. A slew of scientists, historians, and researchers have also voiced their doubts, pointing out the lack of credible evidence to support this conspiracy theory. Despite the numerous accounts and narratives surrounding the Philadelphia experiment, there's a glaring absence of tangible proof. No official documents, no physical evidence, nothing but hearsay and conjecture. Critics argue that the tale is nothing more than a blend of science fiction and wartime rumors, a story that has been embellished and sensationalized over the years. They suggest that such an experiment, if it indeed occurred, would have left a substantial paper trail and undeniable physical evidence. Yet, despite the skepticism and the Navy's categorical denial, the Philadelphia experiment continues to capture the imagination of many. It's a story that has inspired countless debates, discussions, and even movies. The Philadelphia experiment remains a contested piece of history, a mystery that continues to intrigue and baffle.